Hello and welcome to Marketers Radio episode number 3. And inside today's episode, we're going to be discussing the product creation business model, the digital product creation business model, and basically how you can build yourself an online business using or creating your own digital products and then selling them online. As always, we have Mark on the call, and today is going to be a fantastic call because this is something that's very close to our heart and it's something we actively do ourselves. So you're going to find that we're very towards it, but we're also going to talk about some of the downsides. So welcome to the call, Mark. How you doing?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. I'm looking forward to this call.
Yeah, it should be great. It should be a great call now. So Mark, just starting off, why this model? Why this digital product creation model?
Well, Chris, I've looked at quite a few models in the 5 years since I've been online, and I've tried the sort of offline consulting model in particular, and I keep coming back to this model because dealing with offline customers and so on has its own sort of pros and cons. But at the end of the day, what I like about this model is that obviously you've got something to show for your work. In other words, the offline consulting model was a service-based model, whereas this is actually a product creation model, and I do like the idea of creating my own products. But in particular, I think we settled on this because by creating a list of buyers for your product, the list has a great deal of value in itself because you can achieve much higher sales conversions if you have a good qualified list of buyers. And so I think that's probably one of the main advantages. It gives your business some stability once you've created a list of buyers. Would you agree with that, Chris?
I certainly do. Now, it's not just about building the list of buyers. As you know, if anybody's listened to us before, we always talk about growing your brand, your authority, and your know, like, and trust factor. So, firstly, you've got to create a good product. You've got to create a lot of value to the people who are obviously purchasing this. And then you've got to follow up with more value, and you've got to build a relationship with these guys. And if you can manage to do that, and also stay in contact with these people, well then your list is going to generate higher conversions for you and obviously make you more sales should you want to further sell other products that you own, or even if you're going to go down the affiliate marketing route and recommend other people's products and then sell those as well. Now, one of the great things that I love about this model, as you're mentioning, Mark, about the product creation, is you're basically creating something out of thin air, so as to speak. Your ideas, if you can conceive these ideas and obviously do the research and it's on a subject that you know about, you've got to realize that there's a lot of people out there that don't necessarily know what you know, and basically if you can package up your knowledge into a product and teach somebody something of value that helps them advance their business, helps them make more money, or basically makes their life better, well then they're going to obviously reward you by sticking by you because you've helped them out in a situation within their life. You've basically come across their path, and through your knowledge you've basically become an online teacher to those people, and you've taught them something. And I love the idea of actually being the person to teach people. I just love doing that.
I mean, that's a great point, Chris, because I think the reason we get into business, or certainly you need this mindset, is that you're here to improve the lives of other people, and this business model is a great way of improving people's lives in a very leveraged way. You've almost got, well, you have got global reach, certainly to the English-speaking world. Once you've created a product and it's out on the internet. And I suppose if you compare that to my offline, obviously you could take customers on in other countries, but in terms of meeting customers, it would be a local model basically. So really, I just love this model. and as I say, really, it's because my previous career was very service orientated, and yes, you know, there is satisfaction in providing a service to customers, but actually being able to provide a product that you've created yourself and you've branded yourself and so on just gives me so much satisfaction. In fact, when I get a product idea, it's the sort of packaging part that I really love about, you know, that I've actually created something, and it's really my sort of creative streak coming out, I suppose, that been buried for many years. So so that's really, I really love the product creation part, and as you say, teaching other people what you know, it gives a great deal of satisfaction in helping other people to move their business along.
Not only that, Mark, but once you create your product, and obviously you can create it only the once, as long as things don't advance and change, you can then use this product in many, many different ways. You could take this information, package it up and sell it. You can repackage it or integrate it into new products. You can also offer it as bonuses or additional information if you're selling something. So if you've new buyers coming along, you can basically say, look, I'll throw this in for you for free. I normally sell this for $97, but I'm going to throw this in for free. You can also use this as sort of either list bait or as sort of growing your brand. Basically, if you're using it for lead generation and list building, so it can pose as an incentive for people to click on your link or even your affiliate link, because if you basically say, look, purchase such and such product that I recommend, not only will you get that great product that I say is fantastic, but additionally I'm going to give you this secondary report or supplementary report that I've been selling that's going to complement that, and that is a fantastic thing that you can do with taking your product and using it in a different way.
And the other thing I love about the model is that I think it keeps you more in control of your own business. You know, if I compare this to, say, the affiliate marketing model, you know, if you're promoting somebody else's product, they can change the price points, they can take it down off the market. You're actually giving them your customer, in a sense, to market to as well. Whereas if you've got your own product and your own buyers list and so on, you control the price points, you can send messages to your own customers, and to some extent you've got the ability to direct traffic from your list to any offer you like, sort of thing. So the list gives you your business stability in a way that many other models really you know, just can't achieve. And so I think the sort of central idea around this model is to create a list of sort of raving fans and customers who, when you produce another product, are at least interested, if not ready to buy. And so in that way you can build a business from a point of value rather than from trying to market low quality products. Really, you're in control of the quality, and you can make sure that you deliver at least enough value, if not 10 times the value of what you're asking in the purchase price. So, as I say, I just think from that point of view, this model is very, very good.
Not only that, Mark, you mentioned traffic there. One of the great things about digital product creation and providing value, if you then come out with the second product and you have your list of buyers, or you're still in touch, which you should be, well, then you can obviously drive your own traffic. You're not starting from a standing start. You have a rolling start straight away. You can then test funnels, you can test price points, or you can give them special offers because they're one of your customers. But the point I'm trying to make here, once you have a list with this model, you have your own traffic. A lot of people, when they initially start creating products, they could be making a fantastic product, but they'll not make any profits because they don't have the traffic. Whereas if you have your own list, well, then you can drive your own traffic into your own offers as well.
And the other thing that occurs to me, Chris, when we talk about why this model, when you look around at the people that are really successful in in internet marketing in the online business niche, they all have their own high quality products. And so, one thing is that you need to model yourself on success, and so this is a proven business model. Obviously, the gurus want consumers rather than other people creating products often, but this is the key business model that they're running, and so, as I say, that's a very, very good reason why you should be interested in it as well.
So let's go on and we'll explain exactly what is this model. What are we talking about when we're referring to digital product creation, Mark? Would you want to?
Well, really, you can create digital products in a number of formats, and I think we're all familiar with the PDF ebook format, which is relatively easy to create. Just create a text document in a program like Word and save it out as a PDF. So that in its simplest form is a digital product, but you can take that a step further and obviously put it onto a Kindle product, or indeed publish it through Amazon. So there are various other ways that you can build on that model. But there's also, in addition to PDFs, there's audios that you can create, videos in all sorts of formats, webinar formats, and of course you can also create various forms of software. And perhaps the most popular type of software produced in the online niche is WordPress plugins, but you can got WordPress themes and all sorts of other software that people create and sell. So those are the sort of most popular digital product formats. Would you agree? Is there anything I've missed there, Chris?
One of the things I was going to mention, I know you've touched about it, but certain products you can take a multi-purpose, or you can multicast with them, and that's exactly what's happening here with this show. It's going out in video format as well as podcast format. So it's designed for audio, and it's also on YouTube. So if anybody wants to sort of look in and actually see Mark and I and our expressions, they can do so as well. Sometimes we may explain things on screen, but generally the audio is good enough to listen to. It should be educational and informative enough. The fact that we're actually creating this is also additional content. It's a webinar style hangout, Google Hangout, and we can then take this particular product. We can, as we were saying before, add that as a bonus. We can give this product away to people basically, or if we decided we wanted to hold on to it and keep it as private, we could do so as well and then sell that. So you can totally look at multi-purpose in your content in all forms. And one other thing that I haven't mentioned, you could have somebody transcribe the audio from this, and then if you have a series of videos like this or a series of shows like this, well then the transcriptions can all of a sudden be packaged together and put into your own digital ebook or digital report. And all of a sudden you've taken what was either a video or an audio, and you've created 3 different modalities out of one particular product, which is a fantastic business model in itself.
Absolutely. So in a nutshell, Chris, our business model is marketing and selling digital products in all sorts of different formats, and the formats we've just mentioned. And so obviously you have to have the ability to create the product, but also the ability to deliver through, and there are a number of delivery routes. You could actually just send out emails, for example, and provide digital content in that way, or indeed an email to direct them to a web page. But the most common delivery vehicles are download pages and of course membership sites, which is our preferred delivery vehicle, Chris. So delivery is extremely important as well, and the packaging of that, because it's important because the packaging of the product is important because of the perceived value in the product can go up if you can package your product nicely, just like anything in life. So the packaging is extremely important, and of course how you position the product as well. So,
One thing you haven't mentioned there, Mark, and I would like to expand on that, is on the delivery side. It's instant. In 99% of cases, it's instant delivery. So it's not like you're going to eBay or to Amazon or some of the sort of online retail sites and purchasing something, and then you have to wait on the postage and the packaging system. Once you purchase, generally you're sent a link within minutes. You access what you've purchased. Should it be a digital download? Should it be content stored within a members area that you can access straight away? Or even with the members area, what you can do is you can have it that it's drip fed and people are fed things at a specific rate. But there is an instant sort of result. Basically, people have paid their money and they've got their hands on what they've paid for, and that in itself reduces, not only is there the benefit of the fact that it is instant, it also it's a great business model compared to somebody that's an eBay seller or somebody that's selling physical products, because once they receive an order, they then have to go out and package this up. They have to print the address labels, they have to take it down to the post office. And if they're selling a lot of things, now I'm not knocking the business model, but if they're selling a lot of things, a lot of their time's going to be spent packaging and dealing with sort of getting stuff out. Whereas in our model, basically once we set up the funnel and we set up our pages and our sequence of events, it doesn't matter if 1 or 1,001 people buy, it's instant for every one of them, and we need to do, we don't do any extra work basically for the delivery for all of these different people. So that's another fantastic option, or what's in this model.
While you're talking about that, Chris, obviously the other side to that is the sort of refunds and so on. It can be done at the click of a button. You don't have to package anything up and send it back to the vendor. The vendor often will provide a guarantee with the product, and so if somebody wants a refund and asks for it, it can literally be done at the press of a button. So that makes life easy as well. So and that's giving a guarantee with your product removes the risk from somebody buying and trying the product in the first place. And most people are ethical, and if they find value in your product, then your refund should be very, very low. There are of course always the exceptions, but you just have to live with that as part of this model. So.
Well, I don't know if it's just this our model, Mark. You're going to get awkward customers no matter where you go, and I know that from personal experience. One of my previous businesses was a restaurant and food takeaway, and having to deal with the public on an everyday basis and listen to their whinging and whining when there's no, they used to whine at us for something that we used to give away free. And they would complain if they didn't receive it. Now, it was as simple as, I'll give you an example, when we sold a cup of coffee in that particular time, as an additional treat, we give them the smallest of shortbread biscuits, and it was only just a token to go with the coffee. If they didn't receive that shortbread biscuit, they nearly complained and was an uproar over the head of it, and it's just awkward customers. You get them everywhere. In some ways, with the digital format, it's maybe a wee bit more prolific because people are hiding behind their computer screens and they feel they can do it, or they can complain a bit more and not be seen face to face. But there are awkward customers no matter where you go.
Yeah, but I used to say, when I was in banking and so on, that 95% of people are basically honest and genuine, Chris. So, and there'll always be the exception. So really, you just it's just easier to deal with them in this format because, as I say, it can be a refund at the touch of a button if you fall out on either side, really. So from that point of view, it is quite a nice model because you can keep the customer to some extent at arm's length if you want to. So we like to be upfront and show ourselves, and so that the personality and you get to know, like, and trust. But you can actually just hide behind your sales page if you wish. But we think that this format of webinars and so on is much more powerful in that you can get to know the product creator behind the product, and so that should increase sales conversions because people will trust, because that is the big thing on the internet is who do you there are so many, you hear so many stories about scams and all this sort of thing, that trust is a big factor in making that decision to purchase and trust somebody on that. So from that point of view, we like to be sort of quite visible, don't we, Chris?
Yes, trust is it's a more personal level, in my opinion. Either somebody hearing your voice like this and hearing the real you, or even seeing you on the video and seeing your facial expressions. It's as close as you can get to being one-on-one with somebody when they're listening to you like this or watching you like this, and that just helps to grow, as we say, helps to grow your fans and people actually like you, because they'll know you're a real person, they'll trust you a lot more, and they'll see the value that you're providing. Now, another great thing about this particular business model, this is us moving on, is the fact that you can follow up with your customers. You can set up sequences with an autoresponder, the likes of Aweber or GetResponse. You can have this all automated, so when people purchase, they're instantly added into your follow-up sequence, and now you can run your business in any way that you see fit from that point. You can have a series of automated and preloaded emails that are going to go out to these people, and in some cases you may use this as your prime business model when people enter your so-called funnel and they say they don't purchase. Well, then they're going to get an automated sequence of emails basically trying to get them to purchase. That would be referred to as your warm leads. Obviously, you can also email out to people that have bought, and as I've mentioned earlier, they can either further buy more products from you, or they can go and purchase other products from other people if you're going down the affiliate marketing route. And the third option is just to provide value. You have these guys' email, and you can drop into their email box, either asking them questions or just providing them additional content, and by saying thank you for purchasing or thank you for being a customer. So you have that option as well.
And nowadays there are all sorts of different types of lists. We talked about email marketing, but equally a lot of people build big Facebook groups. They can have Google Plus groups. You can have Skype groups and so on. So there are different types of lists. So basically we're talking about any way of communicating on a regular basis with your fan base, really. And but email marketing really is at the center of this model for reasons that Chris has just mentioned. And it's extremely important because one of the truisms in business is that only a very small percentage of customers will buy when they initially see your offer, and so you need some sort of mechanism for educating them in a sense as to why they should look again at your offer. And often it can take 6, 9, 10 multiple touch points before a customer will decide that it's time for them to buy, or that they trust you enough to actually make that decision and invest in your product. So the follow-up process is really at the heart of this model, because if you don't follow up, then you're really limiting the amount of sales and the profitability of your business. So the follow-up process is extremely important in the in this model, and really in any business model. The follow-up is critical, and so as I say, that but really once you've sort of got the model down and you understand the model and you understand the process for creating digital products, for marketing and selling them, delivering them and following up, it's really then just a question of rinsing and repeating the process. So some products will be sort of evergreen products where you can just keep selling them ad infinitum sort of thing. And obviously we haven't really talked about that, Chris, about sort of there are sort of faddy products and also evergreen products that you can create that will have a longer shelf life. And so when you're planning your product creation, that's very important to take into account.
There's also changes that happen. Either possibly Google makes an update, or there's a new service comes out, or there's a service is closed down, as happens on the internet. And if your business or your product that you've created works around this, and likewise, this is also the same with software. There's also changes in the online sphere or updates. Your software can become outdated, and therefore it's not what you term as evergreen. Either that, or you're going to have to stay on top of it, keep updating it, and if the product. But what a lot of people tend to do, you'll find that they'll drop the product because it's such a fast business model that they can be churning out new products and moving on. So you have two sides with the product creation side, or the product creation model. You can either have the sort of long-term view, and where you basically keep updating your product and keep it at sort of the cutting edge of the market, or you have other people that sort of teach either a strategy or a lesson or something, or sell us plugin or software that is current and works very well, but should updates happen in the future, it maybe then becomes outdated.
Absolutely. And what you find with digital products is that people won't just buy one, say, list building product. They'll buy multiple products to get sort of multiple ideas and sort of strategies and so on. So one of the great things about digital products is, as I say, that you don't have to worry too much about the competition, because people will buy multiple plugins, multiple themes and so on. I don't just own one WordPress theme, I own quite a few premium themes, and I'm sure you're the same, aren't you, Chris?
Yes, definitely, but it's all down to choice as well, Mark, as to if you're how you feel, or if you're, like you mentioned, the WordPress themes. If you're looking for a specific look or feel to a website, you may choose one theme over the other because you know the functionality of that particular theme, and that's why. Likewise, with educational products, you may feel that one of the products, although whilst it has helped you, there maybe is things that are lacking, or there's other products that can give you somebody else's perspective and somebody else's insight. And it's effectively like having several different teachers teaching you the same subject. You should get a broad sort of scope, or a broad spectrum of the subject, and then understand this hopefully a lot better by doing that, although in some cases having additional teachers can confuse you as well.
Absolutely. So let's just talk a little bit about the skills required, Chris, because often internet marketing and online business, when you initially come into this niche, they talk about, it's sort of automated income, it's push button income and all this, but actually behind the model lies a number of skills that are required. Now, whether you have those yourself or you outsource some of the skills, in other words, you get somebody else to sort of fill in for your weaknesses, then but let's just talk a little bit about some of the skills required for this model. And of course, the biggest skill required in this niche is that you really do need some marketing skills, and that's probably the key skill required. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Yes, you've got to market yourself on all levels and for all people. One, you've got to market yourself to other affiliates and people that you're hoping that are going to sort of promote your product and make the sales for you. And this is key that a lot of people actually forget about. You've also got to go to the market to sort of the organic community and try and see if you can rank there. You've got to look at maybe marketing yourself to when you actually get the purchasers to the page, or when you get the traffic coming to your page. You've got to learn how to market that product to these people, The final sort of, or not the final step, but another step of marketing is actually to your buyers and your customers. You're continually, to an effect, marketing yourself, because they're always keeping an eye on you. And if you make one wrong turn, or if you sort of misadvise them, or whatever, you'll lose that sort of likability factor in their eyes. So it's a sort of marketing side there as well. Would you agree
Yeah,
with that?
yeah, absolutely. And branding's a big part of this. And sometimes it's difficult to know how to brand yourself as a business. Well, we've settled on a more personal branding. We branded around our names rather than a business name. Basically, the reason for that is that we are unique as individuals, so nobody can copy our brand exactly, because the brand is us, isn't it, Chris? So your branding is critically important, and that's why we're so, we want to keep our good reputation, because the reputation is that the brand that lies in us personally. So we want to guard our integrity as much as possible, because that is our brand at the end of the day. So so we like to be open and ethical at all times, and so that people are willing to come back and do business with us again. Because once you get a bad name online, you're really dead in the water, aren't you, Chris? I mean, word gets around very, very quickly in our community.
That's right. But marketing, in my opinion, is a sort of an all-encompassing word. There's a
Yeah,
lot of layers to marketing. Marketing is obviously being the sales. It's in a big, big, big way. It's also building relationships,
yeah.
and that's maybe where the secret is to marketing. It's not necessarily the driving of the sales, and people will refer to driving traffic as marketing and different things. But the real thing about the marketing side is winning somebody's trust, and obviously building relationships with different networks and types of people as you operate online.
Yeah, and as basically you build a reputation um, for delivering what you say you're going to deliver, and more, really, so that the customer knows that when they buy from you, that they're going to get at least as much value as they're exchanging in terms of money. And once you only have to let them down once, then they start to question their relationship with you. So you have to work hard at making sure that you're ethical and providing as much value as possible. I mean, we've just had a case today, Chris, where we've recommended a product and we've made quite a few sales, but actually we've made very, very little money out of it ourselves, because we recommended our customers to get in at $1. And so we didn't promote that product to make money. We promoted it because we thought that it would provide a lot of value for a very little price. And so that's why we promoted it to our customers, didn't we, Chris?
That's exactly right. We had both listened to the interview that was on sale, and it provided a lot of value, and it was an insight from a marketer who has had a lot of experience in this industry, and he was revealing a lot of sort of nuggets, and he was dropping different things within the conversation that to him are probably second nature, but to somebody that's learning or advancing within the online marketing industry, for $1 just to listen in on that interview, in my opinion, was well worth it. And that's why we obviously fully got behind this and said, look, guys, at the end of the day, we see a lot of value in this and we recommend this because of that. And also, it's only $1, so you're not breaking the bank to have to go and trust us on a recommendation.
Well, I can speak personally there, Chris, and that I learned one strategy there that will pay us back a huge amount of money in the future if we adopt the strategy. And so, when you think about spending $1 to get back it'll be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000% return when we implement that strategy going forward in the future. And so, as I say, that's priceless. And because I got value out of it, I wanted to share that with our customers, because I felt that, or we felt that they would get at least as much value, if not a lot more, just by buying it. So that's really one of the sort of the key skills is marketing, and in sort of really it's direct response marketing we're talking about, Chris. We're not talking about the kind of marketing where you're sort of you're just building a brand. You really want to make direct sales so that you've got you can actually measure a return on your investment from your marketing. So and that's the kind of marketing we're talking about, isn't it, Chris?
Well, it's one of them that, as I said, when people talk about marketing, it's an all-encompassing thing. There's a lot of different threads going on with marketing, and you need to understand that there's more to it than just marketing. It's a lot to it. But moving on from that, Mark, there's other skills that you have to have when you become a digital product creator. And now, you're either going to have these skills yourself, or you're going to have to recognize that you don't have the skills and you're going to have to outsource them. And now outsourcing obviously is something that we're not going to cover in this particular show. We're going to talk about you doing these yourself and learning these skills as you progress. The next thing for me personally is graphics. You need to do graphics because a lot of your sales with the online industry are sold by the eyes. First of all, if you package something up with really, really striking looking graphics that inspire people, or they put a whole brand together, they can see that it's a quality product even from the graphics. That in itself really, really helps with the sales. Would you agree, Mark?
Absolutely. I mean, our coach actually recommends that you outsource the graphics, and I was personally very reluctant. It slowed me down in terms of my progress, Chris, because actually learning how to operate a piece of software like Photoshop, I started with Fireworks, takes time to get proficient in actually producing something that doesn't look really crummy. And so his advice to actually outsource the graphics initially is good advice, but long term I wanted to have some control over my branding, and as I've said before, it's very, very important to me personally. But product design is critical because, again, it comes back to the perceived value of the product. If you put out a very poor design in terms of the graphics and so on, people will think that your product is substandard as well. So it's important to present yourself properly. So graphics is a critically important skill to have somewhere within your business, as I say, whether you outsource it or you have it yourself. And so and this comes back to, we're talking about buying WordPress themes and so on. Your theme design nowadays, I was reading an ebook by John Reese, and he said that if you don't have good design, you're dead before you start, really, more or less. He said that graphics are that important, that there's no excuse for not having good design nowadays, because you can buy graphics and cheap design and designs and high quality designs very cheaply. So really, as I say, the visual element, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but the fact is people do, and so you have to have good design.
This is where Mark and I differ slightly. Mark's belief is to do his own graphical design, and whereas we're both okay to good with Photoshop, I personally feel that bringing in somebody who is a graphical designer, that they just have that expertise and that touch somewhere that the layman may not have, or the sort of the what would you say, the excelling amateur, or somebody who works at it. And if the product, in my opinion, is going to be either higher value, or you really, really want to hit the market and get the maximum out of it, in my opinion, it's worthwhile investing in a graphics designer purely because of their skill and their experience. And the other reason for doing that is because it frees you up. You're not wasting 1 day, 2 days sitting behind Photoshop when these guys can do it in half an hour and make it look 2, 3, 4 times better than you can. So there is a difference. You can do, if you're going to become a one-man band, and obviously you're trying to reduce costs, you can certainly do that. And your way around that is there's plenty of graphical products for sale online that sell you your different buttons and your banners and your sort of images and your different elements that you can use within your graphics. Additionally, there's Photoshop Actions, and if you create your image and then add all of these into the Photoshop and you learn them, you can create some fantastic looking graphic. But again, it's the time suck. It's the wormhole that you can go down if you're trying to get to market quickly. And that's where I sort of differ. I would, if it was a bigger product, I would say outsource it, pay the money, and get it done, and then.
I think you're absolutely right, Chris, because the biggest mistake you can make in business is trying to do everything yourself. It's just that I love doing it, so I'm reluctant to give it away to somebody else. But you're absolutely right, Chris. It doesn't make sense if you've got no graphical skills, really, to, as you say, you can spend an awful lot of time on creating graphics that somebody else can produce in a few minutes, and to a much higher standard.
But there's plenty of guys out there who are willing to do this for you. You can either go into the Warrior Forum and look at some of the services for sale in there. You can also try Fiverr, although I haven't heard massively good reports from people, and it's hit and miss what you get there. Generally, in the Warrior Forum, you can read the reviews. They're competitively priced, and they'll tell you the turnaround time. A lot of these guys are doing it for sort of peanuts to, for what they're producing for you. It can be quite low, so it can be worthwhile looking that out and outsourcing your graphics.
The other thing, Chris, I'd like to add in there is one of my top tips is the Envato, ENVATO forums. Like there's the Graphic River, where you can buy very, very cheap graphics, PhotoJune, where you can buy very cheap photos, and and sites like ThemeForest, all part of the Envato group. ThemeForest offers very high quality, website designs and so on, and WordPress themes. So that would be one of my top tips in terms of design elements to go and purchase from the Envato group of companies as well. Yeah.
Again, you can go to the Warrior Forum, especially for graphics. There's graphic packs for sale all the time. There's guys that specifically create these packs up of different buttons and different elements, and they sell them for $10 US or even 90 times. And some of the quality within them and the value that's in these products to have on your hard drive is second to none. And I honestly I'm sort of addicted to buying these graphical packages because there's always an element you will use, even if it's just a simple graphic you're knocking up for your own website. So it's a skill that you should acquire and work on. But in my opinion, when it comes to something that's important or something that you're wanting to take the market and you're relying on obviously making sales with it, well then I would say outsource rather than sort of doing it yourself and having an amateur style look. Yeah, and
that brings us on to copywriting, where again, it's usually a good idea. Copywriting is a very to be a good copywriter is a difficult skill to acquire, and again, you want your sales pages to convert, your squeeze pages to convert. Often, this is another skill that most people or many people outsource and put it to somebody who's a specialist in the area, because copywriting, as I say, is a skill that's difficult. To be a good copywriter is a difficult skill to acquire. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Totally. It's not just a matter of putting words on a page. It's all as to how you thread the words, how you obviously align yourself with the prospects or the customers, and then in a way, you've got to anticipate what they're thinking, and you've got to lead them on a journey through the sales copy, and then obviously present them with the so-called here is the end of your worries or here's the end of your problems. Simply just purchase this product. If you can effectively do that through the power of words, well then you're going to be in very, very high demand, because it is a skill that's hard to learn. Some people can do it, and as I said, it's in very high demand. If you're good at copywriting, you can basically sell with words no matter what you write. Now, there's different types of different places, should I say, where you're going to need sales copy, and you're going to need them obviously in a main sales page if you're selling a product. But you're also going to have to consider sales copy when you're on the likes of a squeeze page or any smaller pages, because even your headlines are sales copy, and you've got to sort of learn that skill as much as anybody else if you're going to be building websites. Would you agree, Mark?
Absolutely, and it does extend to things like scripting sales videos, or indeed any video where you're trying to promote something requires some sort of at least to understand the psychology of selling. And so because effectively what you're doing is a sales presentation often, and to understand the way in which you're making a presentation without being able to see the customer and answer their objections in person. So you have to anticipate those objections and deal with them up front without, as I say, speaking directly to the customer often. And this is why we like webinars, live webinars, Chris, because you can actually deal with questions and objections right there and then. And so that's why webinars generally convert higher, and obviously people can see our faces and so on. But yeah, copywriting and sort of be able to craft a sales presentation, if you're really good at it, you can command, for some of the sort of the big products and so on, can command tens of thousands of dollars just to write the sales letter.
That's correct. That is correct. And as I said, it is a very in-demand skill. It's not everybody can do sales copy, and even people that can write sales copy, they're always growing and sort of expanding their knowledge as well. And not only that, the trends over time will change.
Yeah.
And it'll be the exact same in sales copy. What sold 5 years ago within the power of words mightn't necessarily be effective today. Either people become blind to the process, or they've seen it that often that it's sort of repetitive. So you've got to sort of stay on top of things as well as far as it comes with sales copy. Now, that moves us on to the next element, or the next skill, and that is going to actually be the website and web page building. Now, a lot of people nowadays have moved across and are all using WordPress. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it was HTML pages, and you needed to use the likes of Dreamweaver or Composer. Those pieces of software are still out there, and there are people who still build pages and websites in HTML. But if you can convert that across into WordPress, it's a far better content management system. In my opinion, it's a lot easier to learn. You don't need any additional software on top of it, apart from a WordPress theme. WordPress itself is what I would recommend. What would you say, Mark?
Absolutely. I think the thing about WordPress, Chris, is that there are thousands and thousands of developers who are creating both free and paid plugins. And plugins are basically little scripts that add functions to your website. And because there are so many people creating these little scripts and plugins, and there are so many buyers, it brings down the prices down to ridiculously low levels, so that you can add some quite sophisticated things into your website for next to no money, and often for free from the WordPress.org site. So for that reason, WordPress, I lucked out when I sort of chose WordPress as my system. I had 3 different options available to me when I started 5 years ago, and I still don't know to this day why I chose WordPress, but it was a good decision. I've never regretted that decision at all. So
I'm the exact same. I can remember coming online. My first ever website I built was not WordPress. It was one of these all-in-one scripts into your information, and it was awful. To be honest, it was, and I don't mean the website that it produced. I just mean the dealing with it. I was trying to put the restaurant's menu together online, and just it was a nightmare to try and build this website and lay it out. And then what I noticed afterwards was every other site, every decent site that I liked, had a big link at the bottom. I'd started to notice this: proudly powered by WordPress. And it was then I said, WordPress? What is WordPress? And that's how I investigated WordPress. And then I found out, and I wanted to mention this anyway, WordPress is free. The actual content management system is free. And at the moment, it currently comes with about 4 or 5 different default themes, so you can change the look of WordPress. It's a 5 minute install process. It's all so simple, and not only that, when you get in on the back side of, or what they call the back side of the back end, it's so easy to use. It's you have your what you see is what you get editor. So you don't even need to learn coding to get a website online. Once you've got WordPress installed, that's pretty much it. You can just go in and start editing your content.
Yeah, if it had involved coding, Chris, that would have put me right out of the picture, really. So, because I was like you. I started with, I went to college to learn Dreamweaver, and boy, was that sort of, I think I did about 13 weeks. That was a complete waste of time, because really everybody was at different stages, and I left that program thinking I'm never going to be able to build websites and so on. I just really, it was complete mystery still to me when I came out. So WordPress was a revelation, really, and so as I say, I've never regretted that decision. So, but the other thing that you'll have to, one of the things that you'll have to line up for yourself is that when you've got digital products, and some of these products, like say you're offering a video as a product, the file sizes can be quite massive, and really you cannot upload your sort of big digital files to a shared hosting site. A host is a server where you may have your website located, but so you'll really need to sort of work out how you're going to deliver your products, and you have to come up with a storage solution often. So, and the storage solution that I use is Amazon S3 as my storage, because and the reason I use it is that it will deliver the content very, very quickly, because Amazon has some really sort of up-to-date and high-speed servers and so on. So actually being able to deliver your video without it buffering and so on is extremely important. So that's one of the other things, is you're going to have to learn how to upload your content to a storage facility and then deliver it on the web page. But people don't tell you this when you start out in online business and so on. These are just things that you have to pick up along the way as you come across each problem. So actually learning how to deliver products properly is also a skill that you need to acquire.
Now, obviously, you can still go the free route, but as Mark says, you could end up maxing out the bandwidth on your shared hosting server.
Yeah.
Or if you're uploading videos and you're putting them onto the likes of YouTube, well, then they can be open and accessible to anybody and everybody. So you don't have the security. YouTube could close your account at any time. That can and does happen to people, and basically it could wipe out your whole business by doing that. And the third point is, it doesn't look professional if you're sort of serving content within a members area for people, which is premium content that people are paying to access, and it's got a YouTube sort of logo somewhere within the video. They know you're using obviously the cheap version for the hosting and the delivering of your videos, and it just, in my opinion, it takes away from the branding or from the premium feel of the product. Whereas if you put it onto the likes of Amazon S3, which is basically just cloud storage using Amazon servers, and they have multiple servers around the world. They talk about the cloud front, and basically if you're in the UK trying to access the content, then we pull from the UK server, and guys in the east coast of the US pull from that server. And basically what happens is these servers constantly synchronize with each other, so your content's basically stored across all of these different servers rather than just the one. So you do have to look at your digital storage solution and how you're going to store and deliver your content when people purchase it.
And it's ridiculously cheap is the thing that, so there's no reason why you shouldn't do it either from a price point of view as well. So again, the value versus the price is it's well worth doing.
Yeah.
But obviously before you actually have a product, you need to plan it, and so that's another skill in terms you have to come up with the idea to start with, and then obviously you have to plan your product first in order to create it. So planning, product planning, and so on is another skill that you need to acquire to make this model work, really. You know, that's not such a big problem as you may think, because obviously you can look at all the other products that other people have created and just come up with a variation or an improvement, or combine two products together or three products, the ideas, and come up with your own creative solution. So, but even so, you need to at some stage plan out your product, and in every case that Chris and I create a product, we come up with a little plan, often on a something like a mind map, and we plan out the step-by-step process that we want to take our customers through to acquire the skills that they need in their business. So
one of the things I wanted to mention when you come to the product planning side of things, Mark, generally, if you can see a gap in the market, or if you can see where some educational products may be lacking, well, then you can come in. Now, generally, you'll find that other people come in with sort of strategies that are working for building a list, or strategies that are working to make money as an affiliate. They're all well and good, and they are great. They're basically a one problem, one solution product, and they are quite popular. And now, if you can come up with some of the problems that a lot of guys online face isn't the problem of coming up with the ideas. It's actually sticking to one idea, because I'd be flooded with ideas. I have so many ideas and not enough time to create the product, and that's the other side of the product planning that you've got to stick with. You've got to plan your product, and you must follow through. That is another.
I think some of the best products that are created, Chris, are where people have had a problem in their own business and they've overcome that problem in some way, so they've got a result, and then they actually record how they overcame a problem, an actual problem they had in their business. And so those are the best products where you've actually overcome a problem in your own business, and you then share that information with somebody else, because that's completely authentic and real, and you've actually, as I say, you can actually show a result.
I'll give you a perfect example of that. Now, obviously, it's not a product I sold. I recorded videos with my iPhone, and I had a problem where I basically started the recording in the wrong orientation with the phone. And when you rotate the phone over sideways, it doesn't automatically drop over. It stays in the orientation. And basically, the videos were side on when played back. Now, I researched and found a solution. And then basically what I've done was I recorded the solution into a screen capture tutorial video, uploaded this into YouTube. Now this video was only online about 5 months, and it's 36,000 views.
Wow.
So just one simple problem that I faced. I then obviously researched it. I found the answer. I uploaded this into YouTube, and it's getting a lot of comments. It's getting a lot of likes. And that's a prime example of sort of one problem, one solution. Now, it's maybe not the only solution, but it has helped a lot of people out of the same problem I was in. And if you can create a product like that, that is so perfect to come to the market that people will literally be thanking you for that.
Yeah. And of course, once you've planned the product, Chris, you need to make it. And you can even outsource the making of the product. For example, we talked about creating PDFs. There are plenty of sites where you can outsource the writing of your book for very little money. People will write a book for $300 to $500. High quality writers as well. So there's no excuse for not being able to make a product, because outsourcing can be so cheap. And also, you'll probably need to sort of consider making products at different price points in your business, because at the end of the day, the best way to sell products is to create a sales funnel, and a sales funnel usually starts with a free or low price offer, and then you take your buyer onto a higher priced offer, and then possibly to an even higher priced offer, so that and the idea being that, you know, whilst they're still buying, you keep selling. So and obviously the purpose of that is to increase the average transaction value in your business. And so you'll not only will you be making sort of low price products, but you'll also be making higher price products and medium price products as well. So as I say, creating a range of products, and also to be able to then cross-sell and subsequently to your customers is important, having a range of products at different price points.
The actual physical process of creating the product is also a skill in itself. There's skill involved in creating videos. Either, you know, there's skill involved in sort of doing Google Hangouts effectively. There's skill involved even in audio products or writing a PDF report, and this is another skill that you've got to build on with your product making. So don't always expect your first ever product that you release online to be, you know, the best product. At that time, it may be the best that you can produce. But as your skills increase and your confidence grows and your experience online grows, well then so should your product creation. And you should look to work towards your strengths rather than your weaknesses. Now that's not saying run away from your weaknesses. You maybe have to work hard at those, but it's a skill that you can grow, the product creation process. And at the end of the day, if you're going to get into the digital product creation business, then product making and the product planning is a skill that you're going to have to spend a lot of time on, even if it's just organizing the project to get the final product put together through outsourcing or through other people as well.
I think, you know, the point is, Chris, that we're in the information publishing business to a great extent. So to be successful, you have to publish information in one format or another, and so that is the basic is the basic skill that's required in the product creation business model, is being able to create your information in different formats. It could just be in one format, but you've become an absolute expert in that particular format. For example, if we just look at PDF books, I know of one person who's making well over $1 million a year just through publishing simple ebooks. And those ebooks are outsourced, the writing of them, and so the key point that the skill that they have is the marketing skill. In other words, the books are created around keywords, so they're easily found online, and then they're published on through a worldwide network, so that every conceivable possible outlet, including bookshops of all kinds, but also online sort of outlets as well, you can access her publications. So as I say, you could just take one particular format and make a fortune from just that one format. So you don't have to be skilled at all of them necessarily, although it does help.
Then another skill that you need to grow and to come up with is the actual learning how to deliver your products. I know we've already mentioned certain elements of this within this call, Mark. We've mentioned about Amazon S3 and digital storage. You basically need to become a bit of an expert at setting up the funnel so that the purchasers, after they purchase, gain access to the product. You've got to maybe look at how you're going to deliver this content, and again, we've mentioned either your download pages or your membership sites. And depending upon whatever route you go, obviously is going to depend on what you've got to build to deliver that content. Now, if it's a membership site, then you've got to build all the sort of different pages within the membership site, and also the skill of turning it into a membership site and locking it down so that only members can access the content. So there's a lot of skills in even the product delivery, just getting the product to the customer.
I think it's worth just mentioning why we prefer membership sites, Chris. Basically, we think membership sites are more secure. They're sort of better to brand in terms of presentation of your product, but also the opportunity to upsell and cross sell your other products through a membership site is much better in terms of the presentation, and it's just all round better packaging. In our opinion, many people still use download pages, but as I say, we prefer the membership site route for the reasons I've mentioned.
Yeah, totally. And then after that, as well as the product delivery, you've got to support your product. So you've got to look at maybe having a support desk. You've got to be on call to deal with customer support, to deal with the problems where people maybe didn't access their content, or even the refunds. So you've got to become your own support technician. And again, that's a skill where if you're personally sort of involved or attached to something and you maybe get negative feedback, it's a skill to bite your lip, say nothing, and obviously go with the attitude that the customer is always right, and either give them the refund or try and be as nice as possible as you can, and obviously deal with their issue. So support, again, is another skill.
Yeah, we're really talking here about customer service, Chris, and again, poor customer service can impinge on your reputation, and so, you do want your customers to come back and buy from you again, and so support is critically important. Sometimes the software we use, for example, in our membership site misfires, and you need to be on hand to sort those problems out as quickly as possible, because they were expecting instant delivery. They didn't get it, so you've already failed at one point, so you need to pick that up quickly and give them the access they required. That's critically important in terms of, as I say, your reputation and your reputation for customer service. And so having a good support desk is a critical part of this business model, in my opinion. And some of the big gurus and so on measure themselves in terms of how good their support desk is.
And the speed of sort of dealing with any issues, and obviously keeping their customers happy. Now, another skill after that, and again we've already sort of touched on this tonight in the call, is traffic generation. You have to know, dependent on any market you go into online, how to go and get the traffic, how to get the people to your offer. Now, this is the same if you're a magician within a town in England, or if you're selling a digital product online somewhere. You've got to know where to get your traffic. You've got to know where your buyers are. Now, you have different methods of driving traffic. You can either send in paid traffic, which is the likes of paid advertising, or you can look to go the sort of free and organic route. One of the best ways for free traffic, although it's not always free, is affiliate traffic, because at the end of the day they're going to get commissions and sales, but they're going to send you the traffic. And that's a skill that you've got to learn to nurture and grow, because as a lot of people expect when they first go online, they're going to build their website and the traffic will come. They put their website online and they wait and they wait and they get nothing. They get no traffic at all. And it's only then they start to look and they question, why am I not getting traffic to my site? There's a lot more to it, and you've got to learn that skill as to how to generate traffic to your offer.
Absolutely. There are lots and lots of potential traffic generation strategies, and there are some more popular ones, like for example, Facebook advertising, and as Chris has mentioned, the preferred model that we run is through affiliate marketing, but each of the models requires some skill to actually implement. You really need to just concentrate on perhaps one and become really good at it to start with before you branch out into various other models. But again, you have to find something that really suits you in terms of your skill base and what you are good at doing. So traffic generate. You have to think of traffic generation like if you think about an offline retail store, they'll look at their location, because the footfall past their store is critical to their success. And it's just the same on online marketing. It's a question of how do you get visitors to come to look at your offer, what you have to offer. And so traffic generation and targeted traffic, actually getting the right people to come to your offer who may be, interested in what you have to offer, is a critically important skill. And everything falls down if you can create the best product in the world and so on, but if nobody knows about it, then you're just not in business. So traffic generation is a key skill.
Yeah, definitely. No matter that's no matter what business you're involved in online, you've basically got to get your shop, your service, or whatever, your offer in front of the traffic, in whatever traffic's going to be interested in you, and they all hang out in different places. And you've got to learn to go to where they are and obviously draw them out. Now, once you've got the traffic on your website and you have potential buyers coming through your funnel, and the next skill that you've got to learn is conversions tracking, and also improvement. There's 3 different elements. You've got to look at the actual conversions that you're getting. And obviously, you're starting to go into percentages here. So many percent of the people are seeing your offer or purchasing your offer. You're going to test things out at different price points. You're going to track where your traffic's coming from or where they go within your funnel if you have different offers or different buttons and pages for them. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the main aim of this is obviously either to make more money and also improve your service and your conversions. If you find that there a specific price point or a specific offer converts at a better percentage, you've got to keep an eye on this and obviously react to that. And it's a skill that you've got to sort of constantly be working on and tweaking.
Yeah, we're talking about skills like split testing, link tracking, and so on. Basically, it is management information that you get. And once you have that information, you can try to test to try and improve on your results. And again, it's a critically important part in business because, just a small change, perhaps a color change or a change in your call to action or your payment button, the text you have on your payment button can increase your conversions by a significant percentage. But unless you test it, you'll never find out. Again, testing different price points critically important to your ultimate success in business, and a way to improve your average transaction value and your return on investment. And many people say, it's all the business is all about mathematics. Basically, you work out the cost of your traffic, and at the end of the day, you're looking for to actually achieve a return on the cost of your traffic, basically, and so you get a return on your investment. And obviously, the higher return, the better, provided you're providing value, of course.
So basically, if you can track and obviously look at what's happening within your sales funnel and your improvements. Ultimately, if you have 100 visitors and you then you increase your percentages from say 5% of buyers to 10% of buyers, you've basically doubled your sales. You've basically with the same 100 visitors, rather than having 5 buyers, you now have 10 new customers, and that's just by keeping an eye, tweaking, trying different price points, and finding out what works best. And then obviously once things work better, well, then you know where you can tweak, where you can maximize and gain basically more money, more results with the exact same traffic that's hitting your website.
I mean, we've got a case in point recently, Chris, where we launched our product and the one-time offer wasn't converting at the level we thought it should, and so we took some advice on it and just made a few changes to the copy on the page, and instantly increased the conversions. If we hadn't been tracking the conversions in the first place, we would have been none the wiser. So it is just management information which informs you to make better decisions in your business, really.
Well, it took our conversions, which were running on about a 17 to 18%, and it jumped them to 34 to 36%
Yeah.
on average conversions. So that's basically doubling their conversions, they're doubling their sales.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably more than that.
Yeah.
It had a radical difference. Basically, the tweaks that we made, the tweak to the price point, the tweaks to the sales copy, and this was all done on the fly. The page was still live at the time, and obviously we had tweaked it and obviously sat back and seen the results pretty much instantly.
And I think this is one of the beauties of the online business model, Chris, is that you can monitor and measure everything. Because the tools are there for you to do it. It's much harder, I think, in an offline business to know often the results of your marketing. You know, if you send out or you put an advertisement in the paper, it's often difficult to track what the results of that might be unless you ask each customer that comes through the door where they came from, and often they won't give you the correct response anyway. So, you know, this is one of the beauties of the online business model, is that everything is trackable. You can track where your traffic came from. You could even track their movements on the web page with software, see how they're moving through the page and what buttons they're pressing, what links they're pressing, and so on. So everything is trackable in an online business, and obviously the more management information you can get, then the more informed you can make your decisions, and the better decisions you can make in your business.
So with the digital product creation business model, Mark, there's obviously some pros and cons. This is us obviously starting to wrap up. Now, we're big advocates of the digital product creation business model because we actively create products, educational products. We look to provide value in the market with these, but there's pros and cons for everything. Would you like to start sort of?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, Chris, is that it took us a long time to settle on this as a business model. We've both been through lots of different business models before we decided this was the one we wanted to pursue. And I think that is a key point, that there are so many distractions and marketers coming at you with all sorts of different strategies and ideas that you become overwhelmed and confused about what you should be doing. So for me personally, it took me a long time to decide that yes, this was the model that I wanted to pursue. And I started off, and it seemed logical to me, by doing some offline consulting with customers and so on. But for a number of reasons, I always wanted to pursue this model. It's just that it took me a long time to actually settle on it and to really focus on the model and try to make it work.
That leads me to my next question then, Mark. Is this a business model that anybody can do? Can anybody do this model?
Yes, they can, but as I say, I think you have to go through a learning process before you can actually adopt it. I mean, yes, you can outsource a lot of these things, but it's knowing what to outsource and how to outsource and so on. You know, these are all learning points. So there is in everything, I think, in all the models, there is a learning process involved, and you shouldn't be drawn in to online business thinking that, you know, you're going to be an overnight sensation. There are people that have made a lot of money very quickly, but they tend to be the exception rather than the rule. And certainly in the people that we mix with, that many of them have taken, you know, years, if not, you know, many years to get to a stage where they're making a realistic and comfortable income online. So yes, anybody can do it, but also realize that, and this is the reason we've gone through, you know, some of the skills that are required, that, you know, there is a selection of skills that are needed to make this really work well for you. And so yes.
One thing I would like to say, obviously following up to that, Mark, is you can do it, and it will take time if you want to obviously get down that line and become a digital product creator. If you wanted to shortcut that and speed up your process, well then you've got to look at obviously taking on a coach, somebody that can coach you one-on-one, and they've basically made the mistakes so that you don't have to. They have been online, they have the experience, and that's really what you're paying these coaches for. They're there to keep an eye over your shoulder. They're there to basically say, no, don't do that, because trust me, that is a mistake, or it's not going to be that beneficial to your business. My advice is stick to this, and this, because I know this is what works. I've made the mistakes in all these other avenues, and basically they shortcut your time either to market or to success. And it's always worth looking at finding somebody that's within your niche or within your sort of field, and seeing if they can coach you, and obviously paying them. Now, it might sound expensive when you initially look at the price of a coach, but when you look at maybe the knowledge that these guys are going to sort of teach, and obviously they're going to, the mistakes that they're going to help you avoid as well, can save you a lot of money. So I would say definitely look at having a coach if you can.
Yeah, I think that's the point about the internet, Chris, is that anybody can have an opinion and can put out content on the internet. And so there's a lot of misinformation around, people that claim things that really they've never done before. They might have heard, or it's just an idea they've come up with. You want somebody who's actually got proven results to help you and to mentor you and to coach you through this model. Because, as I say, I mean, I started out sort of buying little products off the Warrior Forum and so on. As I say, it leads to overwhelm, and at the end of the day, you just don't save any money by doing that, because you start to get confused and conflicting opinions. And as Chris says, you know, a coach can cut through, a good coach can cut through, you know, all that overwhelm and misinformation, and act as a sounding board at every point in your journey. And that is critically important if you're starting out with any of the online business models, is to find a good coach, in my opinion. And that's my biggest regret, is that we didn't find a coach, or I didn't find a coach earlier that I could rely on and I could ask questions of. So that's critically important.
So, in your opinion, Mark, I'm sure you're going to give the same answer as me here. How much is there of this game is passive income?
Surprisingly little, Chris, is the honest truth. I mean, once you've built the buyers list, you can just send out an email and receive money, but you have to first build that list. So there is work. I mean, this is the big misnomer in internet marketing, is it's push button income, but it's not. It requires hard work to actually create the list in the first place. And then obviously you have to find high value offers to, or indeed build more products to offer to that list to make money. So it's not just a sit on the beach kind of model. You do have to work at it, and so relatively little is. I mean, you can create membership sites. And you can get a monthly income or charge a monthly fee for your membership site to provide content. But we know, Chris, in this industry, that the average drop-off rate is 3 months. So, you know, is that a true passive income?
Well, not only that, Mark. Once you get to the guys that are sort of up through the tiers, they've basically put the work in. They've learnt the skills. They have spent their hours upon hours in the trenches learning these skills.
Yeah.
They have then gone out and they've built themselves a brand and a business online. They have grown this business through sheer hard work and determination that people don't actually see them doing. You know, the hours, the late nights, the stresses and the worries, and the smaller products that grow into bigger products. And obviously, that's how you got to do. You got to start small, and you got to work hard, and you got to grow your business. You got to listen to your customer feedback. Along the way, you've got to learn a lot of these skills that we've mentioned. So there are pros and cons in the industry. Passive income only, I don't think it ever comes, to be honest, but it can become easier provided you continue growing your business. What you maybe thought was a really, really great income to be making, once you sort of grow your business, you maybe have a lot more overheads as well you need to pay for. So there's business is business, and you've got to grow it at the end of the day.
Yeah, yeah, and as you said sort of earlier on, Chris, we're in a marketplace that is changing extremely rapidly, and so the products and so on that could be you're making a lot of money for you today could become sort of relatively obsolete through somebody. Well, let's take the case of the webinar technology, Chris, and go to webinar charging, $500 a month for, for 1,000 people on a webinar, and then Google come along with Google Hangouts, and it's all, you could get the same or better technology for free. That's the kind of thing that happens in our marketplace, and you have to be very adaptable and flexible to deal with that kind of pace of development, really.
Yeah, and so some of the actual good sides of becoming a digital product creator, apart from getting brand out there, Mark, as we mentioned.
I see central to this model is actually, as I said before, is building a buyers list, and a buyers list that knows, likes, and trusts you, and that you get a reputation with that buyers list for providing real value. In other words, always providing more value than you charge for, so that when you come along with a recommendation, they instantly think that it's something that's at least worth looking at, if not following. And I think that is the key to this business, is building a fan base of buyers and so on that will come back and buy from you again and again.
Once you have your buyers, though, it's a sort of catch-22 situation. Once you have your buyers, then affiliate marketing also becomes a lot easier for you, because, like you've mentioned, you have to create your products to obviously grow your buyers list, and then once you have your buyers list, well, then you can make affiliate sales and affiliate recommendations, which further increases your income. So the two go hand in hand, and it is a pro in my opinion, but it's hard work to have to build that buyers list and get that up. At a sort of bit of hard work on it, or obviously as you're promoting products as an affiliate, that also helps you to grow connections. As you mentioned tonight earlier on the call, Mark, we recommended a product. Now there was no ulterior motive, but apart from the fact that it was a fantastic product, but we've also made a connection with the product creator that we've promoted. We've sent him our buyers. We've given him sort of 2 thumbs up, and obviously, fingers crossed, we may do business again at some time in the future, or at least we're now on his radar. And if we approach him with even a problem at times and he can help us, he may look to help us out. So it's also a great thing for building connections as well online.
I'll tell you what, Chris, we've been talking about that product. So, I mean, the purpose of this presentation wasn't to promote that product. We'll put a link to it either within this video or below the video, so that if anybody listening to this wants to go and at least have a look at it, then they're welcome to do that. But as I say, we've been talking about it, so we may as well reveal what it is. I just want to go on to the other pro that I see in this model, Chris, and it's a big pro for me at least, is that I'm doing this working from home, but I could equally do it anywhere in the world where there was a broadband connection. And in today's environment, and I live in England and the UK, and the roads are a nightmare nowadays. I used to do a lot of commuting to and from work and so on, and a lot of your life was taken up sitting in traffic and negotiating traffic jams and things like that. For me now, my commute is literally 10 seconds into my home office, and for me that is a huge plus in terms of lifestyle. And because I'm working from home, it keeps the overheads very low, so there are low barriers to entering this model, really. I say that obviously we've talked about the time taken to acquire these skills, so there is a time investment, and there's also an investment in sort of buying various products to actually orientate yourself in the niche. So there is some investment there, but compared to, for example, setting up business as a McDonald's franchisee, where typically you can spend $250,000 to $500,000 to buy a franchise, it's a very, very low cost entry into this particular niche, so this model.
Not only that, Mark, I still currently have a full-time job that I'm holding down, and it's a great method for building either not a passive income, but an extra income stream through this that eventually I hope to grow into my main income stream. But at the moment, I'm still able to do this in the evenings and sort of the weekends, and every spare moment I get. I have the passion for this, but I'm just not at the comfortable income level where I'm sort of happy to launch and let go. Now, I understand some people say just do it, but I have been bitten too many times in the past through, as you mentioned, physical businesses going under and costing me a lot of money, that I'm basically handcuffed to a job until I can physically replace my income. So in some ways it's a driving factor and it drives me on, but it also, the digital product creation business model allows me to do this in my spare time, and in the evenings obviously I can create products. I've spent a lot of time invested in it, so I can teach other people and I can sort of deliver my knowledge on to other people now as well.
Yes, and then the other pro, which I've already mentioned, is that creating your own products, in some way you're leaving some sort of legacy. And I've already talked about the service culture, where you can provide great service, and often the customers will just take that as being what they expect, and so often your job satisfaction sometimes is difficult to find in a service type environment, because, as I say, you don't often get feedback. Well, I'm talking about when I left work, all my customers came to me at that point and said, we don't want you to go and all that, but they never said that while I was in the job. And, so actually, I find a lot of job satisfaction, if you like, in actually being able to see the products that I've created. Gives me a great deal of job satisfaction. So I love it from that point of view as well, Chris.
Now, obviously, we could talk an awful lot more about this. We could go down a lot of different avenues over the sort of different subjects that we spoke about tonight, and we may sort of specifically focus on them again in future models. But what would be your final points, Mark, about the digital product creation business model as a business model that somebody may be looking to get into?
Well, Chris, in my former job, both in banking and consulting, I've looked at literally hundreds, if not thousands, of businesses, and I think because of that, and I've been basically working with businesses now for 36 years, and the fact is that I have settled on this business model for my own business model. So in a sense, I'm walking the talk. I'm actually, the very fact that I've settled on this model, and I've been through I've had a manufacturing business, I've had a franchise, I've been an employee, I've been a self-employed consultant, and at the end of the day, the fact that I've decided this is the business model for me, I think is the best testimonial I could perhaps give for this business model.
One of the sort of following on from that, one of the fantastic things to remember is once you've gathered all of this knowledge and this information, it costs you nothing to produce this. So your raw commodity is nothing. Yes, you have invested time and effort. Your raw commodity is nothing. Your sort of cost to get into market is next to nothing, but your profits can be through the roof. And when you look at sort of that ratio, the digital product creation business model is a fantastic option, and I think that's the leaving thought we'll leave them with, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris.
Basically, would like to obviously say goodbye, and thanks a lot for listening to Marketers Radio, episode number 4. It's 3, sorry. Episode number 3. I started off with number 4. For listening. Obviously, we'll speak to you again next week. We'll be bringing you another show, so we hope you enjoy that. We're going to wrap it up here because I think we've been going on for probably longer than we anticipated tonight. But
yeah, that's because we're enthusiastic, Chris.
But hopefully you've got a lot of great sort of, what we say, tips and pointers in this. And if we've inspired you to basically start into a digital product creation, well then why not follow along with us at the marketersradio.com, or even if you're listening to us in the audio podcast, why not go across and hit that old subscribe button and follow along with our future shows, because at the end of the day we're here to provide value as much as anything else. We hope you enjoy the content. So my name's Chris Cole. I'm going to sign off. I'll let Mark sign off, and then we'll speak to you soon.
Yes, cheerio from me, Mark Salmon. Cheers. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.